seems like the stream is back up again, so that's good. I'm just gonna make a quick invite and we're going again. Hopefully, since all of the lags and stuff like that happen in qualifying this time instead of the race, then yeah, if last week Japan worked normally, then that should mean that the race will work normally. I'm really just losing it at the moment, but yeah, we move. Lovely to see how well this game works sometimes. But yeah, only one person hasn't joined yet, and that is Williams. So that's. I actually don't remember who was in the Williams in Q1. So pretty sure all the other people know it a lot better. Yep. Right. As well, the person has joined in, and who was the lucky person? Oh, it's Terra Foxy, who's, from what I know, joining in this race for the first time. So that's another newcomer. As Fat Nick somehow managed to jump out of his seat, but he's back in, and that's good. And I've got people asking for rain, but well, it's not gonna happen. Alright, and there we go. So now, just to make it even tougher for me to keep track of everything, I now have to keep track of one session of 20 cars. I mean, it's normally a lot easier when you look at Q1, Q2, Q3, because the biggest focus is on the bottom 5, but, well, here we go. Now there's going to be having to focus on everyone, because there's only one session. So we'll see how it goes. Qualifying looks to end at the exact same time as it would have normally, so I guess we're having 2 qualifying sessions instead of 1, which should work out fine. Alright, so Jericho making a bet with Sequan. So if Sequan gets top 5, he is getting moderator, so we'll see how that goes. Certainly makes this a lot interesting. Brian, the stream restart happened because I had to restart the game to join into the new lobby, so that's the reason. And we had to restart the lobby due to the previous one getting stuck at the end of Q1. So now I guess we're just going to only see soft runners, as of course the soft tires look to be the only ones in usage. I mean, I doubt someone will go on the mediums in a short qualifying session, because it's short. Alright, just gotta get the map on. the lap data, and here we go. The two drivers first down on track is of course the two Haas boys, so that's interesting to see. Happens almost every time I commentate the race, so that's interesting. And there's quite a bit of a battle between. Okay, I thought there was a battle between AN and somebody else, but well, there is. Herafoxy is behind them, so yeah. But of course, most drivers going out. The ones that you would expect would wait a bit longer are waiting a little bit longer, but Jericho isn't waiting. Same with Cole. I mean, oh, he's going to be trying to go for a move on Cole. Well, we're certainly seeing a battle here. I mean, the race hasn't even started and these two drivers are already battling each other. Alright, as it looks as though Holly is still in the pits. It's his teammate that is coming out of the pits, who's out of the pits right now. So this qualifying session has just become that much interesting, with it only being one session and me having to keep track and all of that. As well, first driver to start a lap will be Jay Benny. He didn't validate his out lap, but obviously that doesn't matter at all as he starts his lap. I mean, we see the usual lag, so I guess I was a little bit surprised at that, as there's yellow flags in Sector 2, and there's Cody and Alex Lyon. What's going on here? What is going on here? As both drivers either managed to spin, or I have just no clue what's been happening there. But yeah, Jay Benny managed to invalidate through the first sector. CCR then will be the next driver to cross the line, or the first driver to cross the line with a valid time, as long as he doesn't invalidate. But I'm really interested what happened there between the Ferrari driver and the McLaren drivers. You see a lot of traffic going through the S's right now. I mean, that's not the place where you want to set a lap currently. As Jay Benny is in AI, and that's just gonna block his. No, he's giving. Alright, at the beginning it was blocking his teammate, but now it ended up being just giving a toe to your teammate. So Jay Benny really playing the second driver role pretty well. As will that be able to help CCR finish top 5, as he said before, as Benny starts to let more and more people through. I'm pretty sure that is AN who just let through, but yeah, CCR going through the final corners, the Turkey Turn 8 clone, and around the final corner he goes. Is it going to be 133 or 132? It's going to be 133.7, that's the time we are looking at currently. And the next one to cross the line, but he just didn't make that in time. Jericho must be fuming as his lap time gets partially destroyed due to the amount of traffic right in front of him. However, that doesn't stop him from setting the fastest lap, because of course it doesn't. 5/10 faster than Cole, even though he's stuck in so much traffic throughout the entirety of the lap as Foley spins. As we manage to almost perfectly catch Foley spinning here, he's going to be of course waiting for all of that traffic to pass through again. So I guess let's go over to Norchpan, who hasn't validated, letting drivers through. That was not the best way to let someone through, but alright. As we are looking for, just look at the train in front of Kiwi, who I guess skips the track to save himself a little bit of time. But yeah, let's go over to Cole, who I think shows the traffic in front of him the best. This is just a legit train that we are looking at. And that's crazy. And AN letting all of them through because he thinks that they haven't completed the lap. Same with CCR. That is crazy how much traffic there is in one section of the track, and they're just following each other. As for Foxy sets a 41-second lap time. I imagine that was... oh! And there goes Fatney, disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. Probably him just spinning. And as we just realised, Foxy invalidated on the final turn. would have been P5, but it happens. Well, Batney disqualified in qualifying last time. We saw someone get disqualified in qualifying. They went on to finish P2 in Japan, so we'll see how that goes. As well, Folly heading back to the pits due to the wing damage, I expect. However, Bocadinho also invalidates. I know I'm jumping around quite a lot, but it's a bit tough to see who has invalidated and who hasn't. So Extinct on a lap currently. As well, that entire train that we saw earlier, I guess all of them decided to follow each other into the pit line. As Extinct looking to the time, of course, well, we were looking at, of course, the biggest battle to look at is Jericho versus Foley. However, both of those teams also battling the constructors. It's still a big gap. It's still 47 points. However, Extinct is looking to recover something after last week where the game glitched him down multiple laps behind and nobody could understand what was wrong. But, well, yeah. That is interesting how much of the track he cuts there without invalidation, of course. 4 tires have to be off the track, and if they aren't, it's completely safe. It's completely fine, which it is. As well, Extinct now around the final few corners. Ahead of him is Bradley, who's about to start his time. Also, I imagine that's Jay Benny, who's slowed down and going into the pit lane. It is, so Extinct rounds the final corner. Just don't invalidate here, and you're gonna get a lap time, and that's P3. Only 2 tenths behind us. Who is that who's spawned? That is Norwich fan. Yet again. It's not Sector 1, but it seems like Sector 2 is almost just as deadly as Sector 1 there. Foley out on another attempt. That is probably Nay going into the pits. Vaxi went out on mediums, interestingly enough. I mean, as I said before, it is a short session, so you probably won't be on the track for that long. And you want to get the fastest time. I mean, that first lap is going to get hectic, and track position, I think, is much better to have there. As Norwich fan going to the pits, he invalidates once, spins another time, and breaks the board, which was uncalled for, but alright. As Bradley on a lap, right behind him, Foley also on... No, yeah, Foley on his outlap, who's gaining on Bradley, but we're going to be seeing he goes through the final few corners. Right now, no time set, but we're going to be seeing what's it going to be. What does the fellow commentator and the fellow moderator, what time will it be? It's going to be a 1:33.023. Puts him at P5 right now, so close to breaking that 1:32 second barrier, but just doesn't happen as Foley starts off his lap. So let's follow this. This is probably the most interesting lap to look at here, as at the same time Jericho is going to start off his own lap. So you're going to be seeing how these two compare on pace through Sector 1. That is a beautiful run, barely any braking throughout most of it. Takes pretty much all of those parts flat out, except for the final bit where he has to brake a little bit, brake down to 5th gear, but he doesn't validate. He goes over the corner and he validates there. So I guess let's look at the other championship battling driver. As well, Purple Sector 1. He doesn't make the mistake that Foley made. Yellow flags through a lot of the portions of the circuit, but that's just what's going to happen in such a hectic short qualifying session, as half the time has gone now. And you might not be able to see it right now, but quite a lot of cars ahead of Jericho. I mean, that, yeah, does hold for quite a bit of time. On some circuits, like Spain, it might even hold up for 5 seconds, so... Yeah, but there he comes closer to Hera Foxy, who has to leave space. Does that a bit? A bit on the wrong side, I would say, but obviously they can't cut across the track, so that is interesting to see as Kiwi puts themselves up into P8. And Jericho looking to improve on his lap time as Foley has gone to pit. Foley is probably going on to a 3rd set of softs to set his lap time, but here we go. Jericho across the line. It's going to be half a second of an improvement. Oh, and he crashes into AN! Unbelievable. So we've missed it earlier, but AN got a 5, or wasn't AN, it was Michael getting a 5-place grid penalty for collision with AN. AN probably in shock just stood still and didn't realise the championship leader was right in front of him. And well, that's now happened. What a shock to see that occur. Well, luckily he was able to set that great lap time before. And now the question is, will Foley be able to top that? Or will just Jericho walk away with pole position here? As we're just looking for what's the closest driver to cross the line. I mean, Collet sets a lap time 3 times faster. He isn't able to get a sub 32, but it's a great lap currently. Norwich fan on his outbound. Norwich fan and Foley and Walkadinho still no lap times, which is interesting. I mean, all of them have managed to invalidate in awkward spots. Some of them managed to spin. We're going to be seeing Walkadinho now, who's just racing to hopefully set a time. I mean, he has been... This is someone who is a pretty special driver. I mean, he has been on the podium once in Austria, so we're going to be seeing how he goes. He almost invalidates for that corner. Luckily doesn't, and as he's going to be preparing to cross the line, that time is way off, so there must have been a spin earlier. At least it's a lap time on the board, as we are well looking for where's the next driver about to cross the lap. And we see Sequon, who's running sector 3 here. He is 3 tenths up on his time. So currently looking at somewhere around P8, P9. We're going to be seeing how that goes as that's Bradley. Or no. I completely missed what happened there, but I guess we're going to see a Sequon crosses the line. It's only P12. So it looks like he's not going to be able to get that admin that they talked about earlier. But yeah, Vaxi, a second faster, he goes P8 on the softs here. 1.6 seconds faster. I mean, that's the power of the better tyre. As Foley starts his lap. So I guess let's look at this. Hopefully, he will all be able to set a lap time. I mean, 3rd time's the charm. So we're going to be seeing how it goes. Through the first few turns here, he went so well and flat out throughout this entire section. So we're going to be seeing how it goes now. I mean, yeah, he has to lift a little bit, has to slow down here, down into 5th. Holds that through the turn here, down into 4th. And no problems in sector 1. That is great for him to see as Hera Foxy goes P3. Amazing lap from them as they go up all the way up into P3 there. A great lap to see. And well, looks like, well, if Foley doesn't get his act together, there's going to be quite a few drivers between him and Jericho. The driver obviously needs a win to stay close in the championship battle. 1.10109 throughout the second sector, so we're going to be seeing now he has to gain on that in sector 3. But it is looking good. It is looking great. Of course, right behind him, Norwich fan, the only other driver to not have set a time yet. I was going to see how much time there's left in the session, however the yellow flags are covering that off. But we're going to be seeing Foley now crosses the line. He invalidates on the final corner. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The frustration. He's done it again. And well, and Norwich fan pits. So interesting for both of these drivers to fail to set a lap again. And of course, would I be able to see how much time there is left on the session? I could have said something about if they can get another run or not, but I think Norwich fan might struggle, so now I was able to see that 2.5 minutes to go. That's probably enough time for Foley to start a lap. Is it enough for Josh? I'm not sure. But we're going to be seeing as nice job invalid for this lap. Extinct quite down on this time. Hammer Foxy as well. So it is currently on the lap. Foley has of course invalidated because he invalidated so late. It was track limit violation on both laps. So Cody just set a lap time in P15. VMX half a tenth up through sector 1. I'm going to be seeing if he's able to hold on to that. But of course, yeah, Foley... Well, Josh looks to be rushing out of the pits. He probably will make it in time. But of course, he does make this qualifying a lot tougher for himself than he would have had to. I mean, failing that many laps. Stress will start to become a factor there during the laps. As VMX goes through Sector 2. Sector 2 time, it's a 1:02.9. So 1.5 tenths up on his time. Currently looking at about P10-ish. But we don't know how much he's lost in Sector 3. This could be where he gains quite a lot of time. I mean, track evolution is quite big throughout the sector. So we're going to be seeing him now through the penultimate corner. He looks to cross the line and elevate himself from P13 all the way up into P10, as said before. But well, here we go. Foley goes into the pits. So well, that just means one thing. That Foley is about to pull off a last to first beauty drive. Well, we'll see how it goes. Cole on a lap. Vaxi giving the toe. Unbelievable teamwork here from the Mercedes boys. And with Cole getting quite a lot of help, I think it might be pretty difficult for him to fight for that P1 spot. However, stretching the gap between him and P3 is something pretty good. He's 0.07 of a second ahead on his time, so now he just has to hold it through Sector 3. No, Michael, sadly I did miss the clip where you get wrecked by AN, or whatever happened there. I just completely missed it. All I could see was Jericho getting hit there. So while Vaxi and Walkadenia aren't going to make it to light in time to start their laps, we're going to be seeing Cole here. Cole doesn't manage to improve his time. Who's next? Right to the line as Extinct smashes it. That's going to be yellow flags in that sector, influencing it a little bit. Obviously not on the racing line. As we look, well, who else is still on the lap? Nay24 hasn't validated, so that won't be a lap. VMX is 3 seconds down. Kiwi hasn't validated. Siwakan 2.5 tenths down on this time, so it's pretty doubtful to see him improve. Cody hasn't validated, but I guess we'll look at Siwakan and then go over to Josh, who needs to set a time here, or else we're seeing another driver who's going to be attempting a last to first around Austin. Interesting to see. As Siwakan crosses the final 2 corners and he invalidates second to final corner. So we're going to move over to Josh's fastest purple sector 2. This might be the lap we were waiting for. He goes extremely wide though. However, it doesn't matter. He doesn't invalidate. He might still get this lap on the board. But yes, he needs to get this. He needs to get this. He can't go over the corner here. And across the final corner he goes. No invalidations, it looks to be, as he crosses the line to go P4. A great performance from the debuting driver, and also a GWF championship leader, if anybody cared. But yeah, as Kiwi goes into the pits, the qualifying session finally finishes. So the biggest surprise here, Foley not being able to set a lap time. So yeah, P18 for him. We're going to be seeing how he cuts through the field, as Norwich fan complains about his lap being awful, but P4 is good. I mean, I think you'll rather take that lap than not having a lap at all and having to start on P17, huh? And Michael gets a 5th place grid penalty, AN a 10th place grid penalty, so AN is going to legit be starting from last place. I'm pretty sure, or it's behind Fatnik. I don't know exactly how the rules work on that one, if somebody has disqualified. But yet again, this qualifying session is just a Jericho domination, 8.5 tenths to the closest driver, and he's just dominated this. Right, yeah. Jericho, Cole, Hera, Foxy, Josh, Extinct. We're going to be looking at that a lot more. I managed to miss a little bit of it at the end, but going to be looking more at the starting positions when we get to the starting grid, because obviously it's a bit tough to manage to see all of that when you only get 30 seconds. But yes, and as someone readies up immediately. Of course, oh wait. Or is it actually? Because, like, the rule is that you're not supposed to ready up to give people time to set the strategies, but I think that is just the loading to the new session, actually. I'm pretty sure it is. No, it isn't. Somebody just readied up immediately, so hopefully everybody got their strategies done in time, but that is looking really bad. Of course, there is a rule that people shouldn't ready up too early, and it's followed by one of the admins. As we look at the grid, we've got VMX on the mediums, Seeker1 on the mediums, and Folly on the mediums, so Folly probably embracing the alternate strategy to try and cut through the grid, which he has to. He has to manage to cut through the field pretty fast here. It's going to be tough to get close to Jericho, but I feel like Folly might be able to do it. I'm hopeful of him. Other than that, I would maybe imagine that some drivers like Walkadinho might have wanted the mediums, however, just didn't have the time to do it. Because of course setting the strategy is a bit tough. Hopefully no carnage into turn 1 or lap 1. Yeah, hopefully. But well, we'll see how it goes as Seeker1 gets disqualified from the session, probably contact with one of the drivers, but yeah. As I can already confirm that Noise Job managed to miss the start before the formation, like the entire strategy section before the formation lap, because he was looking at Chelsea United, as I guess there's some people preparing to race and can't look at the game. I guess I'll give some news of that game, since people might be curious but can't check as they're focusing on the track, which is a lot better than looking at the game and missing the strategy section. So the predicted pit stop strategy is showing soft, medium, and soft, hard. I'm having a hard time believing that, due to what info I've had before, but we'll see how it goes. As well, yeah, Chelsea United, I can confirm it's 1-1, as Jericho and the rest preparing to set themselves up on the grid and preparing for the race start. So of course 28 laps looks like a one-stop. We're going to be seeing how the tyre wear looks on the circuit and all, but well, as well, I'm just going to move over to this little screen, as now we're waiting for the final few drivers to form up on the grid. And well, with the 5 red lights, it's lights out and away we go at the United States Grand Prix here. Jericho has a good start, immediately goes over to cover off Cole. Hera Foxy has the inside line, they're going to be going at it. And both Jericho getting pushed out wide, Extinct spins. And Jericho down into P4. As now Norwich fan battling Hera Foxy here throughout the S's, but it's so hard to follow a car through there as there's yellow flags. Alex Lyon forced to retire there as there's a major crash covering both Ferrari cars. Norwich fan, I mean, he has had the opening lap play perfectly for him. Folly still down in P18. I'm going to be seeing how it goes. Of course, Josh looking to have a run at Hera Foxy as Fat Neek overtakes Kiwi. They fight right back as Fat Neek spins. So a little bit of carnage through turn 1, but not as bad as I thought. For a moment there, it looked like Jericho was going to get completely pinched in as he goes for a move on Norwich fan, they're going to be going side by side through the turns, and the camera angle certainly doesn't help there. But well, let's just look at this battle like this as Josh goes down the inside. And well, switchback incoming from Jericho. And a beautiful battle here between Jericho and Josh. Jericho trying to get back the lead, lost at turn 1. As we're just going to look a little bit at the track. But there we go, Cole making a move on Josh as well. Josh, he's had a great first lap, but he's lost pace since then. Might have been over usage of EIS on the S's? Who knows? As well, Extinct has another spin. Jay Benny already track limit warnings, leading to a 3-second penalty. That is interesting to see. I mean, that is really early to get it. However, Hero Foxy up in P1 already. I mean, went down the inside for turn 1. For a moment there, I thought Jericho was going to get completely sandwiched, but luckily didn't happen, as we see both of them go out in one shape. As Jay Benny has spun. Jay Benny spins, and that is another position Folly has gained. Currently up into P15, however there's 4 seconds up into VMX and lots of drivers before we can finally reach Jericho and Cole. As we look more ahead, Jericho trying to keep that 1 second gap to her Foxy. I mean, he needs to stay within 1 second for DIS, but it's looking quite tough for him currently. Norwich fan has fallen 1 second out of Cole. Nice job just keeping a close eye on him behind. Maybe looking for a move. He's gained a lot of time here throughout that turn, and we're going to be seeing how that is going to develop. As Josh has the pit, could that be damage? Could damage be the reason, as we see Jericho gaining a lot of time on Hero Foxy over here? We just start straight, and there's not even DIS here yet. But is it damage? It isn't! It isn't damage, so it just looks like it's just strategy pit stop. I mean, there's no front wing change, so I just don't know how that way out has had the pit. But of course now Jericho right behind Hero Foxy, the championship leader, looking to take back his spot that he had at the start of the race. However, how difficult will Hero Foxy make this overtake for him? He does have DIS. And there we go. With DIS now activated, we're going to be seeing how it looks. And he is closing up. Hero Foxy moves to the side, and they go side by side. Hero Foxy lose their position. However, Jericho just has too much speed. Hero Foxy goes down the inside and pushes Jericho wide as he almost spins, but the Williams car catches him. Ooh, it's getting too warm here. Getting a lot of contact there. That was really close for Jericho. Had he spun there, that would have been horrible for him. As we see overtakes happening in the bottom part of the track, but we're mostly looking here at Jericho and his battle between Hero Foxy here. Another DIS zone, and how will the Williams driver defend? DIS is activated. ERS is on, and we're going to be seeing Hero Foxy defending quite well, but here we go, here comes the overspeed. Oh no! Unbelievable. Unbelievable defending there. And Jericho is out. He must be fuming about that. He must be absolutely mad. And there's the safety car. This race just not going the way Jericho intended. I mean, I don't know what to say there. In my point of view, that is weaving way too close, and that might have major implications on the championship. But of course now there's a safety car with Jericho out of this race. Ooh, that is a hard pill to swallow for the Aston Martin drivers. One of them down in second to last, and the other one just out of the race. Foley might be happy about that. Might be glad that his championship rival is out of the race, but obviously that is not the way a driver should be taken out. In my opinion, that's just weaving way too close, but, well, yeah, that is pretty wild to see, and we're going to be seeing how the race goes on. I mean, show must go on. Sometimes driver just has a bad day, and Jericho, that is his first DNF since Canada, which was the 4th round. He's gone for over 11 rounds without any DNFs, as we see Cole, Ney, Noyce, Bradley, and Walkadinho all pitting as AN gets a drive-through penalty for speeding. Oh, that is so harsh for him. I mean, obviously you can't go too fast, but that is so bad for him as Benny speeds in the pit lane. I guess we can look at the tyre choices for most of these drivers, but yeah, it is mediums for most of them. Some of them softs, however, so I think the drivers on softs are going for that 2-stop strategy. But yeah, Foley now. Foley, due to his tyre choice of the mediums, now up into P7. Alright, apologies for that one. I might have not seen that my controller has as little battery as it did, but well, that just happened. I'm pretty sure we didn't miss that much. I mean, it's a safety car, so we're not missing a lot of the action here. A bit interesting to see that the split decisions between the drivers. I mean, most of the drivers deciding to pit during the safety car period. However, we've got the drivers who start on mediums, which obviously doesn't make sense for them to pit this early, so they just stay out. But there's 4 soft runners who decided to stay out, and we're going to be seeing how it works out for them. And we're going to be seeing, I mean, safety car definitely isn't in this lap, but Harry Foxy decides to pit. That is, I mean, if you want to pit, you have to do it early, and I'm pretty sure here it's AN trying to remove his drive-through penalty, not realizing that you can't do it on the safety car conditions, so he's probably going to be mad at himself for doing that. Or he just converts strategies, but yeah. Harry Foxy now going to the back of the grid because of that. And, well, we see a Mercedes driver in the lead. It's not Cole, it's Vaxi, who is going to be leading the restart. I mean, well, I don't know how the tyre looks. Those tyres, I mean, they're not looking the greatest. We obviously have no specific statistics on how the tyres are looking. Everyone has already pit except for the top 6. However, I'm pretty sure for the soft drivers, it's a mistake to not pit. But for the medium drivers, definitely a good idea to stay out here, as I guess we might see medium hard in that case. I think the predictions of the recommended strategy was in some way flawed, but because it feels like we're seeing a lot more tyre wear on the track than we've seen before. Extincted body getting a 5-second penalty for collisions with Jay Benny, so the day just becomes way worse for the Aston Martin drivers. And well, if Red Bull can capitalize on that, we might actually also hold up a constructors battle at the end. Plus, of course, Jericho versus Foley safety car is in this lap, so we're going to be seeing how Vaxi leads off this restart with Kiwi right behind him as Vaxi tries to slow down to build a gap to the safety car and prepare himself for when he should be going. Volley has just 5 cars to get up into P1, 3 of them who probably have to pit pretty soon, but he also has 3 other medium drives to overtake. This will be interesting, as we also get the news that the reason why Extinct went into Benny is due to his controller disconnecting, so I guess I'm not the only one with a controller that disconnects, as Vaxi still going slow. He hasn't gone yet. CCR collisions with... Oh! CCR collides with Cody at the same time. Norwich fan colliding with Cole. As Kiwi, he's got the speed. He's got the speed to go for the move on Vaxi. And they go side by side. They're still side by side, as they're battling throughout the corners. Kiwi's got that little bit of more speed though, so he is going to be holding on to that. However, he also gets a 3-second penalty for track limits, so it's not been the greatest battle here, but they're still managing to hold this on. Looking for the move. Vaxi, beautiful there, but he has to go out wide to leave space. He goes way wider than expected. However, he is ahead of Kiwi. He is ahead of him, and well, Kiwi just goes for the move yet again. It's a switchback battle all the way around, and now Vaxi has the better exit, so he should have more speed, but both of them deploying as much EIS as possible, as now it's Kiwi who's going to be going ahead and squeezing Vaxi quite a lot to the outside, and while braking, they're still side by side. These guys can just not let this battle go. They're still side by side here, getting so close there, wing to wing. But Kiwi starts to break away a little bit as Cody right behind him. And ooh, Vaxi almost spinning, but he manages to keep it going. As all of this is happening, Folly has advanced into P5, and Cole dropped down to P8. So that is unfortunate to say the least. As now Folly right behind CCR. Will it be a move? He goes really wide there, and Folly with the speed probably looks to carry through this overtake, as Vaxi and Kiwi are just as close as ever. But yeah, there we go. Folly overtakes CCR. Norwich fan tries to also make the move, but just isn't close enough to make it. As Vaxi and Kiwi yet again side by side, they're going to be going 3DSs side by side, and Vaxi has to let it go. Vaxi has to let the ball go, and it causes him to lose positions. What is going on here? Vaxi just slows down, causing multiple drivers to overtake him, and he loses all the way to P10. What has happened? Now P9, there's just chaos throughout the track, and Cody just isn't able to defend on the softs. I'm pretty sure that's just the softs dying here. I think the softs have hit the ceiling, unfortunately, as Cody now looks to, with DIS, make the move on Folly, and it will be successful, or will it? Because like Cody has to take a really tight line for the corner. Folly manages with the speed, however, he has quite a lot of wind speed on the exit as Josh spins, but he manages to get saved by Cole's car. Fortunately, as it's 2 Red Bull drivers now side by side, Nate24, who pit under the safety car, is now right on the back of the medium runners and the really old soft tire runners, as Cody sliding across the track. This is really interesting to see. I'm pretty sure we're about to see pit stops. There's a major collision between BMX and Josh. Both of them down. Both of them falling behind. DIS is now enabled. Kiwi decides to pit, so now Cody in the race lead. But there's 2 Red Bull drivers right behind him chasing him. And VMX, CCR, Vaxi, Kiwi, Josh and Noise all pitting. What just happened there? I don't see why all of them slowed down so much, but it has happened as Cody goes into AI. Cody goes into AI while in P1. That is not something you normally see in Folly. It has to be really careful not to get wind damage here due to the AI braking so early. What is happening with people and them accidentally letting their controllers go, as there's a bow right behind us? There's multiple cars here. Absolute carnage as we go. Bradley and Walkadinho wheel to wheel, but Walkadinho with the overspeed. Folly goes for the move on Cody, and as well as his Red Bull teammate. The Red Bull boys are doing it perfectly. As they're now in the one, as they're now 1-2. Of course, Folly yet to pit, and Nay on the softs, but what a fight. As we're seeing Cody and Bradley still battling each other here. As Bradley now, he's got the switchback. However, they go side by side through the corner. They're trying to hold it on. And it looks as though Cody is behind. But now the question is, will Nay attempt to overtake his teammate, or will he just let him be? That is interesting, as Nay... No, he's just going to go for the move. He's going to go to break ahead. Cole obviously can't close up enough in time. But that is really big to see. We're going to hide the screen a little bit so we might lose a little bit of the gaps, but so we can see more of the battles currently. As Cole tries to keep it close to Folly. I imagine that Folly is now going to try to make a move on his teammate. Nate 24 getting a wonderful Red Bull debut here. So we're going to see how it goes. As well, DRS is enabled, and as we go down into turn 12, the second DRS straight, how will it go? So we're going to be looking at Cole's perspective here. Of course, Foley has to get a little bit close to his teammate to be able to make a move, but Cole is faster. He's going to pull to the left. Is Foley going to defend? He can't really do much, but they're going to hold each other up. Cole gets a bit stopped there by Nay turning in, but he is ahead. He is ahead. And question now remains, does this mean that it's time for Foley to pit? Does it mean that his mediums are just too old now? Of course, he has lost one pit stop due to him coming in so early, or not coming in at all. But of course, Cole also has to commit to another stop, so will Foley go down into the pits here, or will he stay out? He does stay out. We're going to be seeing how that looks. Cole trying to close up to the Red Bull drivers. The Red Bull boys still a double podium, as it seems, so it's still a great position for both of them. As Cole isn't able to close up enough through with the DIS, as we're going to be looking over at the tyre life again. My apologies. Nate 24 and Cole on the same age of tyres, but it is soft, and those softs have been seen to start die off a little bit after around 7 laps. So is the tyre wear now going to be an issue for Nay as he tries to defend? Cole is of course getting closer and closer, and we're going to be seeing how it works. So now DRS is enabled. There we go, DRS activated. Cole going for the move. Nay tries to defend a little bit. He pushes Cole pretty wide, but Cole just able to clearly get ahead. Now the Mercedes, who could have won last week, now in the lead. As Foley, I mean, I think you just have to say it, he is too far behind. Those mediums have died off. So we're probably just now expecting him to come into the pits and pit for new tyres, probably the hards, which he's hoping to stick to the end. And we'll see how it goes. Is Foley going to pit this lap? He's still not pitting. He is consistently losing pace to Cole, but that doesn't mean that he's about to pit. As Nay trying to close up to Cole, Cole moving around quite a lot, trying to break that slipstream, as Nay is going to go down the inside. And of course, on this track, because of the elevation change, it is so easy to go for those dives, go for those crazier moves, as Cole and Nay side by side through the S's, of course. Messing up the S's loses you quite a lot of time, and it's really easy to mess up when you have to keep in, as you not only have to think about your line through the S's, but also your opponent who's right side by side with you. As nice job sets another fastest lap on the softs, interestingly enough. And Nay, those tyres are starting to slide, so he is dropping behind on times. So let's look over at the penalties now. So Cole, 8 seconds due 5 seconds coming from the collision with Norwich fan. Nay with 3 seconds, Bradley 6 seconds, Jay Benny with 22. I don't know how he manages to do it, but he ups that number every time he races. You'll love to see the improvement. And Fatnik 5 seconds, and then Kiwi, Vaxi and Walklinia with 3 seconds apiece. Neuschaub moves up into P13. He's trying to recover something after his earlier incidents. As Collie gets another 3-second time penalty. I mean, of course, track limits is one of the biggest things here because it's so hard to stay on track. And same thing with the track that we're going to be going to next week, which is Mexico. But yes, Collie just isn't able to close up. And as you see, Folly consistently dropping behind. He's still dropping behind at this contact! As Hera Foxy goes into him, and I somehow managed to miss that yet again. And now Nay looking for a move, but he does back out of it. Hera Foxy contact with another championship contending driver. And it's so odd to see those kind of things to happen. Of course, if we look over, Hera Foxy did go onto mediums, who, of course, now the double Folly has driven double the laps on his medium, so they're obviously pretty much double the tyre wear. And I think they have hit the ceiling. So, interesting to see what happens here. There's a bunch of weaving ahead. Bradley starting to lose times on the softs. I mean, and Bradley backs off. Bradley letting Folly through. I mean, that's the AlphaTauri Red Bull teamwork that you love to see. Because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I mean, otherwise it feels pretty weird. But yeah, Folly, he, as said before, he is slowly losing time to Hera Foxy. Those mediums are extremely old. However, it's still a lot of respect for him being able to stay out on those for so long. We're going to be seeing, is it time to pit? It's still not time to pit. I think Folly might actually be committing to a medium soft. Which is really weird to see, as we see, of course, Nay also staying out on the soft, so 8 laps. So if I have to predict this correctly, I'm pretty sure Folly is just, at this point, trying to extend this on medium soft and also waiting in case there's a safety car, because as you see, just Nay starts to slide so much due to the tyres being so old, as Nay, or as Michael starts to close up to Folly as well, as Bradley also stays behind that pack. Extinct spun just a little bit earlier while battling Fatnik, so it is really interesting what's going on here. AN overtaking J Benny through the S's. I mean, the guy is on the hards, so the pace is probably a little bit worse. Folly pulling away a bit. Of course, Nate closes up piece by piece through the corners. Well, it's really interesting to see. I mean, still Folly is in a great position because I'm pretty sure Hera Foxy probably will get penalised for the incident with Jericho. I would be surprised if it doesn't happen because that is pretty aggressive weaving over there. As there is a spin in the sector 1. Sadly, I haven't counted those, and it's probably too late to do now. So, but Nay, he gains so much time in the Michael. I'm still learning that, but yeah. Michael gaining a lot of time on Folly as it's finally time for Nay 24 to pit. And what is that tyre choice going to be? That tyre choice is mediums. Hopefully to the end as Nay side by side with Folly turns in a lot earlier. He cuts the track. He cuts the track to get the overtake done, so probably would have still had to give back the position, which he does anyway. And where will Nay 24 come out? He comes out right behind Jay Benny. So of course Folly still on the track. We've gone halfway through the race, and it's been an extremely interesting one, so I'm happy to see how it continues. Corley, 2.5 second gap to Hera Foxy, and the same amount of gap between Hera Foxy and the Folly. But of course Folly has the advantage. I mean, the thing is, Folly and Hera Foxy are probably going to battle each other because both of them still have to pit again. Folly because he has to, and Hera Foxy because they doubt those mediums. lost another 13 laps. See, come on, getting another 3-second penalty. Fat Meat pitting again. A lot of chaos happening down there, but we're mostly looking at this top battle. Bradley and Michael on old softs. I'm pretty sure this is in lap for them. This is probably the lap that they pit and go over to mediums, which they just take to the end. And the question is now, because Nate 24 pits early, is that sort of... Well, it's probably not an undercut since they were ahead anyway, but both of them decided to stay out. Nobody in the top positions still pitting, so the longer this has gone, the more likely it just seems to me that Foley is going for medium soft. And while he is closing to Collie, he has been closing up to Collie as Josh crashes in Sector 1. The Sector 1 claims another driver here. We're going to be seeing him on the side over there. And we'll just pass through that nice and easily as Nate 24 overtakes Jay Benny. Still battling each other. Let's go over to that pretty quickly. I mean, they're still pretty close to each other. Jay Benny with another track limit 3-second penalty. I don't know how many of them I've seen, but yeah. But I doubt he is able to battle on those 10-lap old hards as Nate's on mediums, 2 seconds to AN, the closest driver to him. As well, the top drivers have spread out quite a lot. Foley has lost half a second to Hera Foxy, however Hera Foxy has also closed down half a second to Collie. And as he finally gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits, that is interesting to see. That the battle is still as tight as always. And we're going to be seeing, I mean, the gap is still quite huge. 7/10 is the gap between Foley and Nate, but Michael finally deciding to pit, and same with Bradley, so he's going to match the strategy there. Both of them pitting after 10 laps, so I'm pretty sure that just means Foley stays out for one more lap and then it's into the pits for softs, which he lasts to the end. And it's going to be a hell of a drive to look at. But of course, well, these two drivers on the mediums, they will be coming out behind Jay Benny, probably not behind Kiwi, or will they? Will Kiwi be able to pass both of them? This is interesting, out of the exit. Ooh, when he gets so close, but he is able to split them. Which is a big disadvantage for Bradley, because he has to overtake someone on all the tyres just to get to his race opponent currently. And well, he made it look easy. Kiwi, one mistake through the corner, and that's all you need. As now we look over Nate 24. He has been closing up to AN consistently throughout all this time. On 9 laps, younger medium, so he does slide through the track quite a lot. That was mostly on getting on the curb there, but this is the closest battle we are looking at currently, and it's interesting to see how it will go. AN goes defensive, and they're going to break down into the corner. Of course, AN, he has the line, and he is able to defend that position quite easily, I would say. Vaxi and Kiwi extending, changing our positions left and right, as well. There we go, Vaxi gets for the move, and it's still side by side, as it's finally happened. Foley finally pitting, and that is soft, as expected. That is what's going to be happening, that is what we're going to be looking like. But of course now, Nay and AN, that would have been an interesting battle to see if AN didn't go to pits. Probably to another set of mediums, which he gets to the end. But now it's the battle we've been waiting for. Where will Foley come out? He comes out in P5. Closest driver, 2 seconds to Jay Benny. Foley still with 0 penalties. We're going to be looking at how many warnings he has, only 1. So now what begins is the Foley drive. This is going to be interesting. Softs, 10 or 11 laps to go. It's actually 11, but Foley's going to make it work, I'm pretty sure. So let's just sit down and watch this spectacle happen. As well, Hera and Collie still have to pit as well. which was extremely interesting as well. Of course, if both of these drivers pit, they're going to be battling Foley, because now what Foley is getting, Foley is able to get quite a undercut here. And we're going to be seeing how effective that undercut is. Of course, a major part of it is how quickly he can get past Jay Benny. Because of course, Cole and Hara Foxy have to pit again. Foley was able to make the mediums part last 18 laps, but not much longer, as both Cole and Hara Foxy pit. So now comes the interesting part. How close to them will Foley come up behind? Softs on Cole and softs on Hera. This is going to be interesting. As well, Hera now exiting out of the pits. Foley with the overtake button on. He's going to be coming out. Cole out of the pits already. They're going to be, I think they're going to be side by side down into turn 1. No. As Foley made it work. Foley manages to make the perfect undercut. And that's the Foley we've seen throughout the season. That's the man who is battling Jericho and currently closing that gap pretty majorly. Of course, Hera Foxy wasn't caught off guard there. The only reason Foley was able to get ahead of Cole was because of the 5-second penalty that he had to serve. But Jay Benny spins. He's going to get back on track in P8. However, now Foley, he has a bit of a mission. If we look at the penalties, it's 3 seconds, so he just has to keep himself within that gap, and he will win the race. However, it's also more important that he sticks to that gap and doesn't get a 3-second penalty himself. Ahead of him, also his teammate on the mediums. Those are only 3 laps old, so they will last to the end. However, it is the slower tyre. So now Foley is probably going to be hoping for his teammate to hinder Hera as much as possible to help him get this, as I'm going to go over to leader gap, because I think that's more important to look at Foley and the leader. That's the gap to look, that's the most interesting to look at, as now Nay, how difficult is he going to make this move? Is Hera Foxy going to be able to go down the inside here, first attempt? He goes for it. He completely sends it. Will this be a switchback? It is. He is switching back. He has the better line. Oh, and they just lose a little bit of control out of that corner. And Hera Foxy just goes past. However, as said before, I mean, even if Hera Foxy manages to win, I don't know if that's a given due to the incident with Jericho. He's definitely going to be reporting that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And well, just looking at it, that's going to be interesting. Foley, he's lost a second to Hera, so they are on the same age of tyres. I mean, it's only 1 lap older. Wasn't on for a long time. Yeah, the barrel wasn't on for that long. Josh just had a couple of ping pong incidents and just crashed out in sector 1. So that's what happened to him. Yeah. Foley losing a tiny bit of time to Hera Foxy throughout this entire section. I mean, if Hera Foxy is to get penalised, will that even be enough? And of course he has to also focus on Cole right behind him. Seems like Foley has quite less pace on these softs that he's had before, as Cole sits the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Only half a second to Foley, so this is the battle to look at. I mean, it's way too many penalties for Cole to have a legitimate chance, because he did serve his 5-second penalty, and yeah, 9 seconds is 9 seconds, sadly. But it's interesting to see how this goes, as Nay has just dropped behind quite a lot. Foley is, however, closing up. I'm expecting his teammate to not make this overtake difficult for him, and for his teammate to just give the IS and let him through. And will that be exactly what we are about to see? I think so. And, well, Nay giving that so, not making the overtake difficult at all. Probably hoping to stop Cole a bit more, but there we go. Foley against Hera Foxy. This is a one-on-one now. He still has to make up 6 tenths, but we'll see how that goes. As Cole and Nate24 still battling. Majority of the cars look like they're on rails. Are they using TC and ABS? I know some of them aren't, so... But yeah, as we see Cole going through Nate, I mean, those mediums are a few laps older, but the performance difference is huge. And he manages to get another 3-second penalty. As we see everyone on the grid with 3-second time penalties, except for one guy. And that is the driver battling for the race win. I mean, I know 18 points is quite a lot of points to gain, but you want even more. Hera Fox is a dodgy racer. I mean, I've only seen one specific incident, but it wasn't pretty. However, yeah, that's all I can really say about that currently. Alright, so I'm just checking if there's going to be any decisions. I mean, probably not going to be a full-out decision made before the race finishes, but just checking how it looks. Folly has dropped behind quite a bit of time. I'm going to take this quick moment just to look at the warning. So Folly's still only running on one warning, however... And, well, same for Hera Foxy, so unless Hera Foxy manages to get 2 more warnings, more than Folly, it looks like he might finish this race ahead. However, he also has to account for a potential penalty incoming, as there is a foul between J Benny and Walkadinho. Interestingly enough, as we're going to go a little bit down the grid for a moment to look at those more interesting battles near the bottom. We've got Walkadinho and J Benny. There might be 13 seconds of time penalty separating these two guys, but they're still giving him it their best. So Walkadinho closing in on J Benny. J Benny, where is he going to go? He's going to go down the outside, and that will hold on. So great move there. I mean, we are looking at some fine battles near the bottom here. Another interesting one to look at is Kiwi versus Cody. As of course, obviously there isn't a lot to show from the upper part, as that Cody pushed out wide. I mean, he does manage to stay ahead. Oh, they touched. Oh, and that's Cody off. There was contact earlier, which caused the incident. Yeah, that was really close, and sadly it is off as well. This battle just continues to amaze us. Walkadinho and J Benny just still going at it. J Benny gets another 3 seconds. We're now up into the 30s. But, well, these guys still giving it their best, which you just love to see it. Penalties doesn't matter, it's just pure racing over here. This is just vibes. But of course now, J Benny and Walkadinho are still battling. J Benny will have DRS. I wonder what's the tire life difference here. I mean, yeah, it's like 5 laps, but yeah. AN pitting for softs, probably because he knows he's able to overtake Benny and Walkadinho on penalties, and he wants the softs for just a better run. However, VMX also able to overtake him. So now this is interesting because, well, this is gonna be, he has to fight off a car, which obviously is a risk. As we're just gonna move up. If we look back up the grid order, Foxy still holding Folly to that 4-second gap. Those 4 seconds have been standing there for a long time, so yeah. As well, Bradley and Michael battling as well. 31-second pen strong, yeah. I mean, well, track limits on this track is really difficult, so that's just what happens as well. Bradley and Michael, this is the fight for top 5. This is one of the closest fights at the moment. I mean, yet again, there's 9 seconds of difference in terms of time penalties, but it's still enjoyable to battle someone, as they're going to go straight on through the start-finish line. And Bradley, with the it says AN, manages to overtake VMX. Of course, he is on fresher softs, so that move probably isn't the toughest one to make. However, the elephant in the room, Folly, just isn't able to crack on that 3 seconds, and I'm pretty sure that's just going to mean that the race win decision will, well, the decision on who wins the race will have to come after it, because, well, obviously the stewards are going to have a look at the Jericho incident, because it seems pretty interesting if that move occurs, and that could have major repercussions for the championship, because if Folly is able to win this race, the gap already shrinks to 11.5 points, and then if you also consider that Jericho is missing the next round in Mexico, suddenly Folly could be the one in the lead. I was going to go a little bit down to continue to look at the Michael versus Bradley battle, as of course penalties really spread these drivers apart, but it just doesn't matter. This is just vibes we are looking at. It's still a great battle. It's great to see these drivers still battle each other, even though they've got so many penalties to look at. But yeah, tyres as well. Both of these on exact same age tyres, so this is just like equal. It's an equal fight. I think Folly as well is a little bit disadvantaged by the fact that his tyres are 1 lap older. And that 1 lap pretty much makes a difference as he gets the 3 seconds. And all of a sudden that race win might look a bit further away, as just Harry Foxy manages to keep it. He still hasn't gotten a single warning since that 1 warning after getting his 3 seconds. So now everyone on the grid with track limit warnings, or track limit penalties. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this race ends off. But of course the decision will probably have to be made off the track a bit more, as Extinct Body pits for softs, and I'm imagining Cody is doing the same. A lot of pit stops going on there in the bottom, but it's just what happens sometimes. And well, a bit of weaving there, interestingly enough. A bit of weaving from the driver. I mean, that is interesting to see. You're racing against the clock. I mean, even though you're on the same amount of penalties, you still gotta hold that gap. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just getting on the throttle too early and grabbing control of the car by just going a lot wider than you normally do. But yeah, that gap now is 5 seconds. So while that is something interesting to look at, as will pretty much the entire track, the gaps have spread apart enough so there's not a real serious battle to look at. We can just see the gaps and how much they've spread. So I guess we'll just go over to leader gaps and penalties to see where everybody is in their own positions. So well, currently, interestingly enough, currently the driver on the podium is Michael. Michael currently is on the 3rd step of the podium because he overtakes Bradley on the penalties. He does... Oh wait. Actually, yeah, it's close. It's going to be really close between him and Collet on who's going to be on that podium. Because currently now, if you look at the gaps, it's 19.6 seconds for Michael, and it's 18.8 for Collet. So just like 8 tenths separating them between a podium and just, well, a lower position, as Bradley has paced away from Michael, but still, even though he has pushed that gap wider and Bradley just gets another 3-second penalty, I mean, Cole has to drive his heart out here to defend the podium position. But of course now, as we're closing in to the end, there is only one lap to go, and whilst Coconut actually says on the fact that there's still 16 races and not everyone is retiring on purpose, I mean, I don't know which league would have drivers retiring on purpose, but yeah, here there's pretty serious racing, despite quite a few penalties. But that's just the nature of this track. Is Michael gets 3 seconds, so I guess Cole is going to be safe with that podium. But yeah, CRL only 10. I mean, CRL was a long time ago, wasn't it? But as we move over, Cara Foxy, less than a lap remaining, just 1 sector to go. And well, on the paper, it looks to be like he will finish first in the Grand Prix. If that will hold on to be a race win or not, we're still not sure. But I guess we're going to see that a bit later, how that finishes out. As Hero Foxy crosses the final two corners in his first race, as we see the celebrations, he will win the United States Grand Prix. And then here we go, Folly right behind, able to finish P2. And Cole, by the skin of his teeth, able to hold on to P3 due to time penalties down the order. As well, Bradley lost out on his position right at the end. I mean, it doesn't make a big difference. But yeah, Red Bull with a great result, 2nd and 4th. That is a great result, and I think that will push the Aston Martin versus Red Bull battle a lot closer. Also, congratulations to Nate24, who manages to almost get a podium. I mean, 4th place in his first race for the team. That is a great debut for a team to get. Jay Benny down in P10. However, it's going to be VMX picking up the final points. Of course, then as well, if you look at it, the fastest laps goes to Cole quite convincingly, as the 6 tenths. Folly needed 6 more tenths to get in there. And well then, at the bottom, not a great day for Aston Martin. One driver not finishing, and the other one down in P14. And his extinct body grabs the fastest lap. Well, I mean, I guess he really just doesn't like Red Bull or Mercedes getting the fastest lap, but that's well done from him to be able to steal that fastest lap right at the end. But yeah, Folly, driver of the day, definitely. I mean, going from last place up here, that is great. As we see that Hara Foxy celebrating his first win in his first race in the series, and the Folly in second, with Cole picking up the last podium spot. I mean, if you would change this out with Jericho, this is just the usual CCR podium. But yeah, the race has concluded. So Hara Foxy in P1, Folly P2, then Cole, Nate24, Michael, Bradley, AN, Noise, Walkadinho, and VMX picking up the final point. Great weekend for Red Bull as they are able to close that gap. Cole had a rough start but recovered well. AN from 20th place up to 7th. That is a great recovery from him. And also Hara Foxy, debut win. But well, it's a good race, and I guess to end it off, as we're still not sure, we're just going to be waiting as the race does finally conclude. Alright. So now it's just a question of interviews, yes or no. As well, currently quite a bit of shade being thrown in the general chat due to incidents that have happened. Yeah. Alright, so as there's not going to be any post-race interviews, I would just like to thank everyone for watching this round of CCR. Next week it's round 16 in Mexico, as the title fight between Jericho and Foley gets even closer due to this DNF and due to us knowing that Jericho won't show up next week. So until then, guys, see you then.